Live and in stereo in 5, 4, 3. You know the rest. Let's do it. Yes, welcome to GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live today. Sorry, just getting my levels right there. This is our weekly show all about the world of GarageBand, whether you're on an iPhone or an iPad or a Mac, or you're just GarageBand curious, wherever you are in your GarageBand journey. Tune in every week, this time, this place, and I'll give you as much information as I can cram into what is 30 minutes, but let's be honest, it's usually 40 or 45 by the time I finish ranting and talking and doing all the things. Can we just get a quick sound check here? I'm trying something a little bit different with the volume and with the levels here today, so just let me know, make sure it's coming through okay, and we will jump into the content in just a few minutes after we've got ourselves set up and said g'day to the folks who are here live. Folks like our buddy Mark, who is here. We've got Tom Richel, we've got Andy Goldsby Scott's here, we've got Jade Starr checking in. Who else did I miss? Tim Thompson is in the house. Langston Reese, hello to you. Good to have everybody here for another day, another GarageBand Weekly. Benedict Stewart has snuck on in, as has Kyle TV. Dom Fatchin in the house also. Plenty of folks representing from all parts of the world. We've got Australians, we've got Europeans, and folks from the UK, our American and Canadian contingent, all here and hopefully ready to rock and roll with some GarageBand content. Just need to get the screen set up here so that we can be all good to go using Reflector 3. I'm doing a video about Reflector 3. I actually reached out to the folks at Air Squirrels who make Reflector, which is what I use to do my live reflecting of my screen here for my live streams. And they said, you can do a video about us, and they're actually giving me a discount as well. So I'm just finalizing the details of that. So if you've ever wanted to do what I do and be able to do cool, funky things, a little bit like this on your videos and on your screens, it's actually super handy just to be able to throw it up here. I know you can use HDMI and other things, but to be able to throw things directly up here on the screen is super cool. So Reflector 3 is what I use for that. And we'll be doing a video on that and having a discount promo code for that during the video. So that's a bit exciting. A little bit of a sneak peek for those that are here early. Righty dokie. So that's all working and fine and dandy. We'll come on back. I'll just do the unplug replug thing, put it into GarageBand so that we're getting the right audio coming through. There we go. We've got a heap to talk about on the show here. I don't know why I'm dilly-dallying. We've got a lot of news. We've got a lot of different segments to cover. No one's yelling out and saying that the audio is terrible or that I need to adjust anything on the audio side, so I'll assume we're fine, but please let me know as I'm experimenting and testing a few new things here today with our friends at StreamYard. Then there may be a few things that we need to tweak and alter as we go. It seems to be okay. Hello to Stu Cash, who's dropped on in. Auntie G is also in the house, so thank you for everyone for being here. If you're watching on the replay, don't worry, we love you just as much. If you are watching the replay, drop me a shout in the comments. I'm going to make sure that you get you get some love. So if you're watching the replay, if this isn't a convenient time for you to be here live, just jump down to the comments and tell me who you are and where you're from. Especially if you haven't said g'day before. I love to see some new names and some new folks, as well as, of course, our wonderful regulars that we have here in the chat. Let's crack on, shall we? Let's get into our first segment and talk about news and notes from the past week. Well, all of the news in the Apple universe at the moment is around the Apple October event. So yes, we've got more Apple events than you can throw a stick at, and we have an October event coming up this Tuesday, the 13th of October at a ridiculous time that I'm not going to be up. It equates to about 3 a.m. for me. So I won't be watching live. I tried that once and it destroyed me. So I won't be doing it live. I believe Jade has hinted at doing a live show. What are we expecting to see? Well, it's new iPhones. There are rumors of some new things. Here's what I think is going to be. Definitely going to get the announcement of the 4 new iPhones, including the iPhone Mini, which is the rumored name for their smaller, and it's a bit crazy that a 5.1-inch iPhone, I think it's 5.1 or 4.7, is called a Mini now. That's a small screen. We've gone completely insane. So the iPhone Mini, and then the other 3 iPhones, the regular iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 Pro, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Because you know what? Yeah, Apple. I've said this last week, I think, but Apple have kind of gone a bit backwards with the whole simplified naming convention thing. I think it's more complex now than it's probably ever been. So we are expecting the new iPhones. What about Mac? You might be asking. Yeah, so the new Silicon Macs were announced in the earlier event. August was it? And they were touted to be coming late 2020. Well, it's October. There's only 2 months that are later, so we are hoping to hear some more soon. But the latest rumor on that is that the new Silicon Macs will not be announced, and a date for those until next month. So we may have yet another event. So yeah, that'll be interesting. The name of the event is High Speed, which folks are touting as meaning the 5G. So we're expecting to see 5G on our phones, which means the conspiracy theorists can go and protest the Apple stores, because we all know what 5G does and what it causes, according to those in the know. What are some other things? Well, the AirTags are still semi-rumored to be heard from soon. Probably not on this announcement, but they're coming soon. They're the little tile-like tracking device for your devices, which would be cool. I'm thinking like, yeah, put an AirTag on all of my audio gear. Have you ever been like, where's my microphone? I wonder if I can hang an AirTag from it. Or where's my Midi keyboard? Where did I put it? Hang an AirTag from it. Maybe not. Or importantly, your Lightning to USB 3 adapter, right? Yeah. How many people are like, oh no, where's my Lightning adapter? That could be kind of cool. And the other music-related thing is the HomePod is apparently getting a mini version. So the HomePod is Apple's attempt at an Alexa, and that name, or a Google Mini, or Google Hub, Nest, whatever they're called. But it just has never really taken off. I saw some stats the other day, and it was about 3% of all the smart speaker market. I think Apple have about 3% of it, and Amazon have like 50% of it, and Google have about 30%. So, yeah, a very small slice of the pie. But Apple are going to try to continue with their speaker range by having a smaller, cheaper speaker. That's at least the rumors. Speaking of rumors, a lot of the content that I get and a lot of the latest rumors are from MacRumors.com, and there's a link down in the description to the latest Mac Rumors video from just yesterday with some of the latest news and opinions on what's happening. And I'm sorry that the last sort of 3 weeks has all been rumors around what the announcements are and that sort of thing. But as far as actual GarageBand news goes, there hasn't really been a whole lot. There hasn't been a whole lot of news or much to actually talk about. So we've been covering those for that reason. Righty dokie. Let's jump on over, because we've got a few more things to talk about. Now, the feature topic, as you would have seen from the thumbnail and from the details there, is all about shortcuts and keyboard shortcuts, because I got myself, as you may have seen last week, I got myself a Magic Keyboard. You can see me, if you could have seen me holding it in the thumbnail of this video. I got a Magic Keyboard thanks to Jade, who convinced me to go and jump in with both feet and get one. And the verdict so far is yes, I really do like it. And I wish I didn't like it. I wish I didn't like the Magic Keyboard, but I do. I'll be putting it to the test today. It's sort of my first work day of being sort of free, being my own boss. So I'll be taking the iPad Pro on the road. I'll be going out with it and testing it out and just seeing if I can actually work. Can I get all of my work done by just taking my iPad Pro and my Magic Keyboard? We'll see how that goes. But what you are here for is to learn about GarageBand keyboard shortcuts. And the website I've gone here is studiolivetoday.com/shortcuts. And this is where you can go and get this, which is the little cheat sheet that I made for iOS. And don't worry, Mac folks, I've got you covered in a minute. I haven't done a specific Mac cheat sheet. Most of the keyboard shortcuts are the same. And I've also linked down in the description directly to the Mac shortcuts, so you can check those out. But I did a video a while ago. You can see it there, and I've also got that link down in the description. It was a live stream video where I just tested. You can see I got my iPhone and I got my keyboard, and I just tested out some keyboard shortcuts. But what I wanted to point you to was this little handy dandy printable PDF document. There it is, the official GarageBand iOS, iPhone and iPad keyboard shortcuts document. And the reason I created this one is that Apple's version, you can see I created it all the way back in November 2018, but they really haven't changed many of the shortcuts. I better check. And what I should probably do is do an updated version with trackpad related stuff, because I know there's a few other things. But in terms of the keyboard stuff that you can do, if we zoom on in here, you'll see that there's a heap of things we can do in GarageBand. We can start and stop playback with a space bar, go to the beginning by pressing the return or the enter key, move forward with the period, move back with the comma. So there's a bunch of keyboard shortcuts that you can use that can make your GarageBanding experience a whole lot better. You can see you can solo and mute with S and M. Yeah, I said it. You can undo and redo. And the other thing you'll notice here is I've interpreted, in case you're using a Windows keyboard, because you may not be aware of this, but you can use the specific iOS and Mac keyboards. But if you're just using a standard generic Logitech or Microsoft keyboard via Bluetooth or USB, you might be thinking, well, I don't have an option key, I don't have a command key. Well, it's pretty simple. You can see here that the command key just becomes the Windows key and the option key becomes the Alt key. So you just need to interpret those, but instead of you having to remember that every time, in my little handy dandy cheat sheet, we've got all of those changed for you. So whatever type of keyboard you're using, you can come in here and get your stuff done. You go to automation, you can open the Loop browser, etc. So I do have a new video that I'm working on at the moment coming out all about keyboards and mouses and some of the shortcuts that are going to work for you in GarageBand. But if you want to jump in and get started, you can do that right now. Now, I did mention that for Mac folks, you've had keyboard shortcuts for a lot longer and you have some slightly different shortcuts. Again, down in the description, there is this website link, which takes you straight into the Apple world. Now, I haven't done the conversion for these ones because most of the time on your Mac, you'd be very rare. Like, I don't know why you would plug in a Bluetooth keyboard to a MacBook or a Mac and then use it if it was a Windows keyboard. Maybe there's some use case I'm not thinking of, but I haven't done it. So you can see here, similar sort of things. For your start and stop playback, you've got enter and 0 on the number pad, so slightly different there, but your comma and your period's the same sort of thing. You've got things like cycling, which is different because you can't do the cycling on your iOS. And there's a bunch of different commands there. So because you've got Windows and you've got a bunch of other things, you've got the ability to open projects, save projects, do all of those good things. So it's much more detailed and a lot more keyboard shortcuts. And I'm sure Mac folks know a lot more about that. And in fact, I've also, our buddy Dean over at the Songwriting Studio has a video where he goes through some of the his most useful Mac keyboard shortcuts. So that one is linked down in the description as well if you want to check that one out. So go with yourself and get some keyboard action in your life with your GarageBand, whether you're on iOS or whether you are on a Mac. Let's jump over to the chat. Hello, Rockstar1958. Great to see you there, my friend. Glad to have you on the chat. Who haven't I said hello to? So Jay's got some additional stuff. I love how the keyboard shortcuts change within different apps. Yeah, I do love that and also dislike it. It's good when you can work them out, but it is good that they can actually be the same. It's Canadian Thanksgiving. There you go. I didn't realize that. Canadian Thanksgiving. I did my Canadian show yesterday. I should have given a shout out to Canadian Thanksgiving. I know what Thanksgiving is in the US, and I won't get into a big heated political debate. But what's the Canadian version? I wonder. I'm gonna have to do some research onto that because I don't know, and hopefully it's a little bit less controversial than what happened in the US or what we celebrate here as Australia Day. Jade says apparently AirTags won't be released. iPhone, HomePod Mini, and some new charging options. Yeah, so I think Renee Ritchie was talking about the headphones being delayed and not being AirTags, and the Mac Rumors video you probably watched or read the similar article that said, yeah, unlikely that we're going to get the studio monitor headphones as well as the AirTags coming anytime soon. And thankfully, Andy's got his tin hat on over there with the 5G. Yeah, wasn't it in the UK that they were like burning down 5G towers or something? It was very extreme. I remember seeing that and going, oh yeah, they're doing that in the States. And I'm like, wait, the UK? I thought they were just like, oh, we could go out and protest, but let's just sit and have a cup of tea instead. Did I just basically insult two complete different countries, like which is the majority of the people watching? Probably. I apologize. These are strange times in which we live. Let's come in and get onto our next thing. Let's get into a rant, shall we? Now that I've put my foot in my mouth, let's get into a rant. I played the Alanis Morissette song "You Learn" yesterday, and I love the lyrics in that where it's go, "I recommend putting your foot in your mouth to anyone." I honestly do. And yeah, sometimes you just have to, right? If you're not making mistakes and if you're not saying the wrong thing, sometimes you're probably overthinking and being too conservative, and they are traits that I suffer from. So if I if I step out of line and I say the wrong thing sometimes, please forgive me, as Brian Adams would say. Please forgive me, I know not what I do. Rant of the week this week. Let's talk about laptops versus iPads. So I mentioned this in a recent show, and I get asked this question quite a lot from people getting in. And to be honest, let's full disclosure right up front. I am not qualified to answer this question. Why? Because I don't own a Mac. I've never actually owned my own Mac. I've used Macs and I like Macs. I've never owned one. I'm a PC guy who then uses a bunch of iOS stuff. And I know that that's a little bit weird, but there are more of us than you would think. I don't have the numbers. I've never looked at research, but there are a lot of folks who use PC and then who use iOS, because I've just used PC since I was, about 10 years old. So as soon as I graduated from the Commodore 64 to the old 386 back in the day, I've been using PCs and I'm just super used to them. So I use PCs for things like this, for live streaming, for all of my YouTube thumbnails and setting up things and answering emails. And whenever I'm sitting in this desk, in this studio in my front room, then that's what I'm using as a PC. So when I started creating music and I wanted to branch out and do something different, iPad and iPhone just was what worked for me. I tried recording on the PC. It got too complex. It was too difficult. I had my desktop PC, and then if I wanted to transfer it to my laptop, it'd be a whole bunch of file transfers, which would either be over Wi-Fi, which was super slow, or it would be over a USB stick, and getting the same software set up on two different things. I didn't like it. So I wanted to find a simpler way, a simpler approach that could continue, like I could just start and go and record. And that's where I found GarageBand. The rest is history. I now use GarageBand on my iPhone, so on my phone while I'm out and about. My iPad Pro sits in the studio most of the time here, now that it's docked here on its magic keyboard. And I can just transfer files seamlessly between the two. They're auto backed up to iCloud. I love the convenience. What also happened in the last 5 years is that the quality gap used to be about this. So the quality gap between using, say, GarageBand on a Mac versus GarageBand on an iPad was about here. It is now here. So the only differences now are some of the functionality that you get. So things like the automation, things like the arrangement track, the master track, that's the difference. And then if you use Cubasis or Auria, there's actually no difference. So whether you're using a Mac or you're using an iPad, there is no actual difference. You can do all the same features and functionality. And the hardware side is exactly the same as well. So whatever USB devices you're using, audio interfaces, microphones, anything that you want to plug in, MIDI keyboards, you get the same functionality again on a Mac versus an iOS device. You're getting, even in GarageBand, you're recording 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz sound. Now, yes, in a Mac, you could ramp that up and record it at 88 kilohertz or 96 or 192 if you wanted to, but you're just going to use up a whole crap ton of processing power and disk space. And I don't know anyone at the moment in the home studio world recording at a higher quality than 24-bit, 44.1, or maybe 48 kilohertz if you're doing audio for video. So I say all that to say it really doesn't matter. At this point in time, if someone said to me, Pete, I don't have anything, I need to work out what I want to use to create, what I would say is, if the Apple stores are open in your area at the moment, but let's assume that we're at a time where the Apple stores are open. Go into the Apple store and spend a day and play around on a MacBook with GarageBand and just sort of fiddle with it and edit and bring audio in, do whatever you can. Grab an iPad, play around with GarageBand, fiddle with it. Like, just get as familiar as you can and then and then pick one and go with it and work out what's best for you. I think we get hung up, and I do as well, but a lot of folks get hung up on the whole, I need to pick the right one for me, and if I make the wrong choice, it really doesn't matter. You're going to make music, and you're going to make good music with a good, solid platform. Whether you choose to go iOS route or whether you choose to go for a Mac, it won't matter. And guess what? You'll never know what would have happened if you chose the other way. So keep that in mind too. We get hung up on decisions and regrets. Don't worry about that. Just make your decision. Look at what budget you have. Look at your workflow. Choose one. Go with it. And you can also have a hybrid. You can be like our buddy Patrick and use iOS GarageBand and Mac GarageBand and be an expert in both. So you have options, you have choices. Jade says, I'm a PC and iOS user. I just prefer getting more bang for buck with high-end PC and abilities to play high-end games over a Mac for double the price. Yeah, which is a weird one because, I did get someone, because I'm a PC person, I got someone say to me, you know, for the $2,500 Australian that you spent on your iPad and your keyboard, $2,500 buys a pretty killer laptop, like a PC laptop. And I said, yep. And you know what? If GarageBand was on PC, I would probably do that in a flash. And before I get the comments, I know you can use virtual boxes and you can install it and you can breach terms of service to get Mac software on a PC and then run it really clunkily. I don't bother doing that. Anyway, thank you for listening to me rant. Hello to Jeff, who's here. Hello to our buddy Case. I hope you're doing well. Dom says there is a large market for secondhand Macs over here in the UK. My MacBook Pro was sent out to a press reviewer by Apple, returned to Apple, and sold to me for a fraction of the price. There you go. So yeah, you can definitely get good deals if you look around on refurbished. Apple do good refurbished stuff and secondhand for sure. And Jade says, the old days before 2020 where you could just loiter in an Apple store and waste half a day. I know. I used to legitimately, in the school holidays when my kids were bored, I would say, where do you want to go? And they'd be like, Apple store. And I'd be like, cool. And we'd just go there and we'd spend literally a couple of hours. They'd just walk around and they'd play with the different iPads and iPhones and iPod touches, and they'd put their grubby little fingers all over the packaging of everything. And guess what? Not going to be a thing, at least not in the short term. When I went to pick up my Magic Keyboard, I had to make an appointment. I had to go see the scary looking security dudes out the front. They gave me my mask and they told me to stand in line. I then got let in the store and had to stand in a corner 1.5 meters from anything and just stand there not touching stuff. And then the lady in the mask came over. She swiped my phone to get my payment and handed me an Apple bag, and then I walked out the door. So that is the Apple store experience in 2020, and for a little while as well, I guess. Let's continue on. What have we got next here on the show? So that was my rant. Tip of the week. Now, we are way behind here, aren't we? Yes, we are. But that's okay. Well, this will be a quick tip because I'm doing another more detailed video on this coming up soon. And we will dive in. That's not what we want. We want to get rid of that. So see you later, keyboard shortcuts. Back to my iPad. Now, I wanted to just show today the advanced settings that we have here in GarageBand. And just so that you know everywhere you can go to get your GarageBand set up and optimized as best you can. So we're here in a GarageBand project. The first place that we want to look at is up here in the top right. We're going to click or tap on your little settings icon. If you're on an iPhone, it may be under a little drop down, but you'll be looking for this settings. And then we're going to go down here. Now, these are all your regular settings. You'd be aware of these. You've got tempo, time signature, key signature, your fade out option you can do there, your notepad you can jump into, jam session, which I've never used. Anyone ever used jam session? It's the one function I've never made a video on or never even used. I've just never found a need for it. And this is the one I want to draw your attention to, the advanced settings. So if we tap advanced, these are some things that you may want to check out and turn on. Multi-track recording. Now, this is where it will enable multi-track recording even when the audio device with multi-track input, even when no multi-track audio device is detected. So if you're plugging in an interface and you're having issues, you don't really ever need this on, but you can see there that it gives you that option there. So it says, yep, if you don't have that, if you don't have the ability to record multiple tracks at once, come in here, turn it on. It should auto do that, but if it doesn't, come and do that. 24-bit audio resolution. If you listen to nothing else, listen to this bit, and I'll tell you it twice because it's so important. Enable 24-bit resolution. There is no reason to not, and if you leave it that way, it'll be 16-bit audio. So it's no big deal. 16-bit audio is still okay, but it is 1/3 less of the resolution of 24-bit. And if you have more for free, you might as well use it, right? The reason that you want this is that if you're plugging in something like a Steinberg or a Focusrite or a Behringer interface that is 24-bit, you want to be able to record in that full 24-bit resolution. Otherwise, it will downscale your audio and you'll instantly be getting lower quality audio than you deserve if you're using a microphone or a guitar to record. The other thing is, even if you're an electronic producer and you're just using loops, a lot of the loops in GarageBand are now 24-bit. So if you don't have that selected, they'll also be downscaled to 16-bit. And if you want to learn all about bit rates and sampling rates, there's a few videos here on the channel. Just search my name. If you search Pete John's bitrate or Pete John's audio sampling, you'll probably find a bunch of my videos there. Run in the background. This just lets GarageBand run and have audio even when you've got other background apps. So if we come in here and we play, I'll just turn that down a little bit. With running background on, we can actually jump around here and go into a different app and start doing things, and it'll still keep playing. See how we got the little red thing in the top corner there? We tap that, it brings us back. So yeah, so that's super handy. Now there is a bug at the moment. Sometimes on some iPhones and iPads, it will still not work. I can't explain it. I haven't even worked out which models that's on. It seems to be a bit random, but if it's not working for you, there is a bug at the moment that is causing some folks some issues. Use with music apps. So you can switch this on to, it says here, to optimize GarageBand performance for use with other music apps. You may notice a delay when playing some touch instruments. So again, turn that on. If you're finding issues, turn it off. It's a weird one that there's no documentation around exactly what it does, apart from make it better. But if it doesn't make it better, turn it off. If you're finding issues, try turning it on. Bluetooth MIDI devices, you can come in here and you can add, I've only got my phone there, but if you're using a Bluetooth MIDI keyboard, you can do that. And if you're using GarageBand and other music apps, you can send the MIDI clock, and that's important for syncing up your apps with other apps. So make sure that the MIDI clock is the same and all of your instruments and MIDI information gets synced up. Not super important because GarageBand can't actually... It doesn't actually export MIDI, but yeah, if you're using it and integrating it with other apps, turn that on. And again, if you don't need it, you won't need it. But there's the few options. And again, I said I mentioned it twice, 24-bit audio resolution, just turn it on. Just do it right now. If you don't have it on, go in, turn it on. It is not worth not turning on anyway. So there you go. That's our tip of the week, which is our where are we? Sorry, just look at the time, which is our advanced options here in GarageBand. And there is another place where you can go to options, which I talk about in other videos, over on the actual settings. So go to the main settings. In fact, let's just show it real quick, because for completeness, if you are playing around with this, then we'll need to do this. So we'll jump back over here. So what we want to do is go to this little icon here, our settings. In fact, I'll pop off here just to, while I tap on that, because it'll bring up some details that I need to then just quickly scroll past on my settings screen. But here you go. If you scroll on the left-hand side here, scroll on down until you get to the word GarageBand. There it is. This is where we have some additional settings. So you can come and play in here. You've got Bluetooth there, all of the sort of random ones. Your document storage. In fact, I don't know why this is on my iPad at the moment. I should make sure that I store documents on iCloud Drive. Hey, that's a bit weird. Obviously, I haven't set this up since I got this. Your knob gestures, you've got crosstalk protection for your guitars. I won't go into details on this. Automatic recording length, support for MPE controllers. You've got keyboard note labels in here, those iOS plugins. So there's free plugins you get with iOS, and the all-important reset GarageBand. So if your GarageBand's crashing, I did a video on this during the week, you can tap on that one and then restart your GarageBand, and it should actually fix some of those crashing related errors. So there you go. There is the other place you can go, because you know what, you wouldn't want to make it simple and put all your options in one place. Let's put them in two separate places. Alrighty dokie, let's go back and check our notes and see where we're up to. And yes, we are going overtime today because we're already at the 30-minute mark. But I got some cool stuff to show you still here, including our plugin or app of the week. And I'm revisiting something that I hadn't looked at. I've been neglecting this app for a while, but someone was asking me about audio editing in iOS. And I said, well, Audio Share is what I use for basic stuff. And they said, what if you need to do some more things, but you don't want to spend a lot of money? And I thought, hang on, there is an audio app for that, and it's called the Lexus Audio Editor. And I just simply haven't used it in so long that I'd all but forgotten about it. So let's dive in and take a look here. Now, there's a link to a video, which is a full tutorial, 20-minute deep dive, which is down in the description. You can check that one out after this show. But if we come back in over here, no, again, we don't want that. We want this one. If we come in here, let's tap on the Lexus Audio Editor here. And this is what you'll be presented with. It'll look a little different. So if we use it, I'll just open it here on my iPhone where I've been playing around with it just so that you can see the difference. So here it's opening up on the iPhone and it looks like that. We'll just come back over to this screen. So yeah, so you've got a slightly different layout on your iPhone, but you can see there, it's just the same stuff, it's just kind of smushed up. So all the same features and all the same functionality as you have on the iPad version. It's just easier for me to demonstrate here on the iPad. So the Lexus Audio Editor is a free audio editor for iPhone and iPad. Unlike many other audio editors like this, it doesn't have any paid features. It doesn't have anything handicapped. There's no premium upgrade add-on options. Well, no, I tell a lie. There's one. There's MP3 encoding, which you really don't need because you can use other apps like the Voice Record Pro app to do that. But this is a very similar, if you've used Audacity, this is a very similar product to that, and it works really, really well. So let's just do a quick test run here. We'll open a file. So to open a file, we tap on open in the top there. You can import from iTunes, but more useful will be import from Icloud, because if we tap browse, this is going to bring us into our very familiar browse section where you can actually go not only to iCloud, but to anywhere else, any other locations you have here. So I keep a lot of my audio files here in Audio Share, and here's one I prepared earlier for this test, which is this whistling idea that for some reason I voice recorded myself whistling a while back. Let's just test the audio, make sure this is coming through. We'll hit play up the top here. Why won't it pause? I'll turn that down. This is a great advertisement for you, Lexus. I hit play and it's not letting me stop now. It's letting me skip through, but why won't it let me play and pause and stop? Oh, it's that stop. Why are there two stop buttons? Why is there... Oh, this is really, really quite strange. Notice that there's two pause buttons and two stop buttons. Okay, that's wacky, because that's something weird. It's done something different. I think the interface here may not be compatible here, because if you look, it's different to the one that we have on here, and it's not quite working out. All right, let's see if we can bumble our way through this, and we'll use the correct buttons. But that's just a little bit weird. See, now it's kind of crashed. All right, we'll close it and reopen it. Isn't it? Oh, look at what we got now. Good Lord. All right, let's try and open something. File is not saved. You want to save it. Discard it and open a new file. Something wacky going on there. Okay, it's free. Did I mention it's free? The beauty of live. I know Jade's chuckling to herself because she knows that these sort of things will just happen. All right, so assuming that you get to here and things are all working, let's just try this again. We'll play. And we'll turn the volume back up. And we'll hit the correct stop button, which is this one down here. Okay, it seems to all be working fine as long as we do that. So what we can do with this, you got your playhead here, you can position that wherever you like. And again, if you've used Audacity on Mac or PC, you'll know that you can adjust these sliders and you can set just different sections. So if you set your punch in and your punch out, you can actually add effects to just certain parts. So let's just say that the first whistle, we don't want something on, but this second one, we want to add an effect just to this. So let's just focus in on this. Now, all of your options, you'll see there's no buttons out here to do anything. All of your options are actually up here in the top left. So if we tap up there, you can see we can cut, copy, you can trim, you can do all the things. You can insert silence, which is good if you're doing things where you swear and you need to cut some bits out. But there's actually a really big effects engine in here. If we tap on effects, like that, you can see we've got fade in, fade out, normalize, reverse, change pitch, change tempo, change speed, noise reduction even, we've got compressor, we've got EQ, we've got echo, reverb, vocoder, and some stereo converting options. So there's a heap in here, and I cover all of them in the other video, so we won't go into them in detail, but let's just do, say we want to do the change pitch, because this is something that a lot of folks want to do. We can preview and we can play, so at the moment it's the same, and it's just going to play that little bit. And then what if we want to bring it down? See, now it's not engaging with the mouse, so this is a problem you have. But again, GarageBand has this problem too. So let's go down like say seven halftones or semitones and play it. So yeah, it's got, again, like most pitch change and speed change engines, it can make it sound a bit weird. What if we want to go up a whole octave? You start getting the real artifacts kicking in there. So if you want to apply it, so we'll bring it down a little bit. Like that, you hit apply, and then it bakes it in. So this is destructive audio editing. Again, like Audacity, it's not non-destructive, it's destructive, which means that, once you overwrite something, you can undo it, but it's not there. It actually literally writes in and changes the audio. So if we play this now, here's our first one, and then it's going to go. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, you've got those options baked in there, right into Lexus. And one of the cool things, and I haven't played around. Oh no, I just said Lexus, and my Amazon, you know the word, thought it was talking to it. One of the cool effects in here that I've been playing around with, it's actually got a reasonably good noise reduction engine in here. So if we tap on noise reduction, it's got low pass filtering here, and then it's got sort of a rate and a threshold and an attacker release of noise reduction. So if we play this, so here it is without noise reduction. And then if we play that same section, can we go back? No. All right, we'll just play in the next section. But if we turn it back on, listen. It's kind of reduced my children talking in the background. Turn it off. Back on. So yeah, if you don't want to shell out the $10, $15 for Bruce Free or for one of the other noise reduction plugins, and you've just got some noisy audio, this might be a cool way to come in here and just play around with it. So we'll just we'll apply that. And there you go. So look, as you can even see in there that it's reduced down, and those gaps in between, it's nowhere near as noisy. If we go back to the start and hit play, better, right? Okay, that's enough. I don't know why I chose me whistling as an example for this one, but yeah, it's a cool app, and again, for free, you can't argue with the price. Even though it's done weird things, and even though we've got 2 stop buttons here, and I don't really know what's going on there, it's pretty good. And here's the good part: to save it out is dead simple. All we need to do is tap on the save button. Now you can save it here in its own little world, but what I would suggest doing is first of all changing the M4A back to WAV. You want to make sure you retain your quality, so make sure it's a WAV file. You can then save it in here, and it will just save it, but that'll save it into the Lexus folder. If you want to save it back, so say you want to bring this into GarageBand, if you hit save, you can hit in the top right here and go save to iCloud, and again, just go into your regular browsing features, and if we go to, where's my GarageBand? On my iPad, GarageBand, like so, GarageBand file transfer and save it. Move it to there, then that's actually going to put it in our GarageBand file. And then if we come back into GarageBand, guess what? We can actually come straight into here, and amongst all of our other stuff, there it is. And we can just bring this version directly into here. And if we play this, we'll hear that. And then any changes that we made to that one, including that pitch change, are right there. So pretty cool. Tom say that sounded like an old Western with that whistle. Yeah, there you go. A nice E minor to B7 comp fits great under the whistle. There you go. And SM Borthwick says, any app that will reduce your children talking in the background is a good app. Ain't that the truth? No, that's my children are actually really good. Now you'll notice that you don't hear them, and that's a good thing. They do a really good job. One of my kids made a record sign that goes on the door. If you saw my studio tour, you'd see that. So when the door's closed and the record sign stuck to the door, it means I've got like, unless you're bleeding or on fire, you can't come in during a show. So I'm not completely. I am kind to my children. I do say that they can interrupt me, but they do have to be bleeding or on fire before they can do so. Righty dokie. We're going to finish off, I think, because we've only got one section left, and that is our resource of the week. And I've already given a quick shout out to this person and this site, but if you haven't caught Dean Davis and the Songwriting Studio, you must do yourself a favor and jump on over and check out Dean and the work that he does over there. I'll just bring him up over here on YouTube. This is Dean, and this is the Songwriting Studio. You can see there, like when I first knew Dean, I think he had a couple of thousand subscribers. He's now got 26,000 subscribers on his channel. He makes some really, really cool content there that you can see. He's got a lot of GarageBand stuff on there, a lot of songwriting stuff. It just does a really good job, and he focuses in on Mac. So like our buddy Patrick over at the GarageBand Guide, who I gave a shout to a couple of weeks ago and has joined me here as co-host of the show quite a few times, our buddy Dean has a bunch of good content there. So if you're not already subscribed to Dean, and even if like me, you're an iOS user, some of the concepts that Dean goes through around songwriting and around other topics are absolutely relevant and relatable over to GarageBand iOS and anything you're using. But for our Mac users in particular, if you're a Mac user, and you haven't checked out Dean, do yourself a big favor and go and check him out. And also down there, I've popped an interview I did with Dean, so you can jump over there if you want to learn more about Dean and about the songwriting studio. There's a video with me back before I had any any sort of decent lighting. Oh, I cringe when I look at those. I mean, my lighting's not perfect, but wowzers, was it bad back in the day? So yeah, jump over, check that one out, and support folks who support you, who help. And Dean does some great work. He works with kids to help them with songwriting and creating music. He's got courses that you can check out and a bunch of free content on his channel, which is awesome. Alrighty, that is going to do it for this episode of GarageBand Weekly and for this weekend of live shows. So thank you for everyone who's been with me for all of the shows here. If you're here live, thank you. If you're here live on YouTube or Facebook, if you're watching on the replay, don't worry, we love you just as much. Please drop a comment. Like I say, especially if you don't usually comment, would love to hear from you. It's always nice to hear from regular folks. It's always great to hear from folks who are new to the channel and learn about you and your music creating experience. I got a lot on this week. I've got a lot of projects and a lot of things that I'm working on. So a lot of those will result in videos that will be popping up here on the channel throughout the week. So keep an eye on that. Head over to studiolivetoday.com and that's where you can find all the places where you can find out all the information. Now, what you need to do now is in 20 minutes time, in fact, just go there now. Just go and sit there and wait patiently for 20 minutes. So Jade will be checking out some Procreate on iOS, which I'm keen to check out because I haven't used Procreate like ever and I hear it's awesome. So I'll be learning, like usual, I'll be learning something new from Jade on her channel. So 20 minutes time, jump over there. Again, if you're on the replay, just search Jade Star and you'll find her How to App series and be able to catch up on that. That is going to do it. Until next time, folks, please be kind to yourself. First and foremost, be kind to others and keep creating. I'll see you next time. Cheers.